everybody. This is David from My Metal Today, and today I am here with Vancouver-based band Anciients, who's actually going to be playing Progstorm Festival, as well as a few other ones. They're actually playing Euroblast as well in September. But we're focusing here on kind of the band, their opportunity to play Progstorm in Montreal in August, and we'll be covering a bunch of fun things today. So I'm going to turn it over and let each of the guys here introduce themselves.
Hey, I'm Kenny Cook. I sing and play guitar with the band.
Hey, I'm Mike Hannay. I play drums for the band.
Hey, I'm Rory O'Brien, and I play bass and sometimes do some singing for the band.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, to get started, the way I like to start a lot of these is I always like to know kind of what is the origin story of the band. You know, you guys have been around for a little while, and I'd love to know kind of how did Anciients get started, and we'll start there, and then we'll kind of work our way from there.
It started around 2010, out of the ashes of a different band. So, our old bass player and old guitarist, Chris and Boone, we played in kind of a punk rock, sleaze rock band called Spread Eagle. And, that kind of had run its course, and we were all sort of just wanting to try some music that was a bit more, melodic and challenging to us. So that's basically how it began. And then, the drummer from that band was with us for maybe a couple months, and then it wasn't kind of his thing. So we found Mikey shortly after, when he was, 18 years old or something at the time?
Yeah, just a young guy.
So it basically just, kind of started from the ashes of a different project.
Very cool. So obviously, Kenny, I think you were, kind of like a founding member, and Mike, sounds like you joined pretty quickly thereafter. How about you, Rory? When did you join?
That would have been, how many years ago now? It was right before 2023.
Three weeks before we recorded Beyond the Reach of the Sun.
Oh wow!
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, So that was a crash course for sure. I came into it with recording time was already booked. A lot of the songs were mostly written, but we still had a few more to figure out, and kind of whipped it together pretty quick. It was a pretty intense experience. So yeah.
Slid right in there.
Killed it. He killed it though.
Yeah. I knew the guys from years previous from my old band who had toured with or done some gigs with Anciients back in the day. Bushwhacker was my old band. So That's how we all knew each other. Yeah.
And how did you find Mike? I'm curious. You said you found him and he was young, but how did you guys actually connect?
So I guess the Spread Eagle, the band before Anciients, they jammed in New West at this space called Bullies, which still operates today. It's has a different owner now, but they do a lot of shows. But at the time, my band with some high school friends called M16, just like a thrash band. We were jamming there, and the drummer for Spread Eagle, who was actually did I guess a demo with Anciients really early on. When I joined, they actually had there was 4 songs that were already recorded. I think it was Built to Die.
Falling in Line, Humanist, and something else.
So just a rough demo. But anyways, that drummer, he ran the jam space, and he was a friend of both of ours. So it's just kind of through him as a mutual friend. He was kind of stepping away from the band, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you guys take in this kid who's always here?" And so that's cool. How I met the guys, and yeah, they were gracious enough to tolerate me as a little shit.
Oh, and here you
Still
are,
tolerating.
16 years later.
Yeah.
One thing I am curious about, the name. Where did the name come from, particularly with the double I? I've always been curious about that.
Well, actually, if you look at one of those posters up there, there's only a single I. But basically, we are just trying to find a name, that sticks. So basically, we kind of got a bunch of friends together, and we literally compiled like a list of 50 names, and we, sort of narrowed it down, and then, cohesively with a bunch of friends and stuff, we sort of just narrowed it down to that name. Figured it would be a good one for subject matter, and fit the music right. But the reason for the double I, there was like some other band at the same time as we were kind of forming, I think based out of Nashville, and I'm pretty sure that we had the name first regardless. But when we signed with Season of Mist, we all kind of just agreed that it might be a smart idea to alter it slightly, just to avoid any complications. And I figured, it kind of makes it stand out. So if you search for the name with two eyes, you kind of go right to us. Whereas if you search for Ancients with one eye, you get everything from Egypt to Greek mythology to
History Channel.
Yeah.
eight grain bread. Yeah. So yeah, that was basically just the reasoning behind the extra I, was just to differentiate the name a little bit, and avoid any bullshit from that other band that's no longer around.
It also makes the half moon work really well since you got more space for it.
Yeah. Look.
Yeah. A little more symmetrical. Yeah.
Exactly. No, very cool. Well, cool. Well, no, thanks for that. It's definitely something I've always been curious about. So we'll fast forward a little bit. You had Voice of the Void came out quite a while back, and then you had this long gap, before Beyond the Reach of the Sun. Can you dive into that a little bit more? Like, what caused the break, and what caused you guys to come back and record the new album? Which I'm really glad you did, by the way.
There was a whole lot of things that kind of happened, like personal health issues within kind of the family, and then, some of the members just weren't quite into it, or, everyone was just kind of doing their own thing. There was never really a plan to, stop moving forward. It was always kind of in the back of our minds that, music was kind of being worked on, from the people who are still interested in doing it. But yeah, it was just, the health thing, and then finding new members, and then kind of right when we were just about to start writing and getting together again, the whole COVID thing hit. So then that set us back another couple years.
Yeah.
Once all of that kind of ended, I actually moved away 4 hours from the guys, and you would almost think it would be less beneficial to the band, but actually it kind of reinvigorated us, because we all started sort of working on stuff remotely. So being adults and being a father and stuff like that, it's for decades almost, it was okay, we're jamming twice a week, no question on these days, and it was always an hour drive away from me, so I did that forever. And if some guys just aren't showing up for practice, or it just starts to take its toll sometimes. So when I moved away, we actually started working on projects at our own pace. So if we had some ideas, it's if you had the time, you could work on it at 2 a.m. on a Thursday night, if that's when you had time to do it, as opposed to sort of a military regime of, you have this 3 hours on Tuesdays and Sundays to make stuff happen. which you know, like being in the same room, there's always that kind of lightning in a bottle. But I find like for us recently, it's like having those foundations built on everyone's personal schedule has made it a lot kind of easier to progress. And then when we kind of do get into the room together, you have a big lump of stuff to start, you know, sifting through. So it's kind of like, you know, that's sort of where everything kind of started picking up again, and we started gaining momentum and getting stoked, right? But yeah, like I say, that we always kind of, well, me and Mike had always planned on keeping the band going. Like it was never something that we're shutting down. It was just a lot of bullshit that was going on that kind of stopped it from happening.
Yeah.
Long story long, right?
It's amazing how much of an impact COVID had. You know, I know there were so many bands that were like working on things, and then suddenly, oh, now we got to stop. And you know, there's been some that haven't come back. There's obviously been venues that haven't come back. You know, so I think sometimes it's easy to forget at this point just how big of an impact that had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Most definitely.
Well, you know, one thing, you know, I think I love the album. I love the progressive elements. I love the kind of the melodic death metal elements. Sometimes you get into some doomy stuff. You get into some sludgy stuff at times. Like you mix a lot of different things together. You know, like I'd be curious, like from each of you, who would you say some of your biggest influences are and why? And how do you try to incorporate that into the kind of the overall Ancient sound?
Probably a pretty wide influence for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, like, you know, it's a very vast sort of melting pot of inspiration. And that's kind of like when this band started. Like I said, it kind of started from a different project before. That project before was very kind of like one lane, and like that was kind of the goal with this project, was to, you know, make anything a possibility that you kind of enjoy, right? So whether it be like folkish music to black metal and death metal to jazz to progressive rock, right? It's just, you know, it's basically just stuff that, you know, if it makes us stoked, that's kind of the reason we're sort of doing it, right? So the bigger the umbrella, the funner it is, I kind of find. But like for this record, like I was kind of listening to a lot of music I listened to like in my formative years as a musician. So like a lot of like the 90s grunge stuff, like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and stuff like that. But also at the same time, like Kraft and Morbid Angel. And I was actually really getting into that Steven Wilson quite a bit, which I was quite late to the party, but you know, I was definitely listening to a lot of that stuff as well. So kind of just a conglomerate of everything.
How about you, Mike? I'm curious, kind of what were you bringing to the table? Like, what were you listening to at the time?
I don't even know what I was listening to at the time that we were making the record. I do find that when I'm trying to come up with drum parts, I find myself always kind of thinking about the Mars Volta, just because they have awesome drummers like Thomas Pridgeon and Dave Elitch and John Theodore. And I always thought that drum sound, but with double kicks and blast beats, would be like pretty epic. But yeah, I can't really remember anything in particular that was influencing me while we were writing those songs. But we kind of, you kind of just, I don't know, we would get together and jam, and I would kind of just like see what the music would ask for, and then I would take it home and try and like make it my own, and just kind of see where it would go. Trying to be conscious about not overplaying, but like trying to find interesting things to play. Yeah.
And that's also one of the benefits too of this like remote recording, right? Because it's not like, sometimes the first idea you come up with is the best choice, and sometimes like having it sitting there is to your detriment to try 1,000 different things. But it is kind of helpful to have the structures there and sort of be able to try a few different ways to approach something, right? And like I know like sometimes when like building songs with just like digital drums that are horseshit, if you send them to Mike, it's like he'll all of a sudden send back something that's like totally something you would never have thought of, right? And it completely, changes the riff for the better, right? So I think it's just it's very kind of helpful to expand upon and not just kind of be stuck to one kind of idea, right? So sorry to budge in on you there, buddy, but I noticed that
it's I don't know. I find it's hard to answer a question like that. Like what influences your writing, because without even really realizing what you're doing, like it could come from a place like so far back that like I'm not even really realizing like that's where the idea is from. Like maybe a record I haven't listened to in like 10 years is just like floating around in the back of my mind or something, and that finds its way into the music. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe a lot of it is just kind of subconscious, but yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Rory, I want to put you on the spot a little bit. You said you kind of joined the band 3 weeks before we started recording, so I'm curious, how much opportunity did you have to contribute to some of the bass parts? And B, same question as I asked the other guys, kind of what are some of your influences and what do you try to bring to your bass playing?
Well, I think like leading up to the recording, the biggest thing I was listening to was probably old Anciients records to get an idea of like where to kind of play or what to fit in there. But I mean, a lot of it was already written. Kenny had written a lot of the bass, but there was some songs that we kind of did leading up to going into the studio. But as for like inspiration, yeah, it's kind of like what Mike said. Like, I don't know, there's so many different things. I have such a broad taste in music, like whether it's like death metal or synthwave or country music or prog rock or whatever. Like my ideas, I don't know where they come from, if they're just sitting in the back of my head rattling around. Maybe it's like something from a Thin Lizzy song that like just whether it's rhythmically something interesting. But yeah, it's hard to say. I don't really dig into anything specific when I'm trying to write. It's just kind of what flows. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think it's probably pretty rare for us to like get together and say like we want to make a song that is like this genre or has like this vibe. It usually just starts like totally randomly, and then we kind of see where it goes, and then Kenny is able to just kind of make everything sound awesome. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it's more like, is there a vibe? Like, is the song, do we want something crushing or something that's like more mellow and laid back? It's kind of...
Yeah, like there's obviously always the parts where it's like, this has to have a Slayer beat or the High on Fire part, right? But it's never like I'm writing a riff to sound like High on Fire. It's just kind of giving someone an overall idea of how like a riff or the Morbid Angel, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's never like, you're never thinking, oh, we need to write a song that sounds just like Morbid Angel. But if you have a certain section that you're like hearing certain drums for, or this kind of the vibe, like then influences can kind of come in that way.
Yep.
But yeah, never like specifically taking a whole project and being like, okay, we're gonna write the next Slayer record that was never released or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I guess the only time that we would try to definitively do like I don't know, say like something heavy is if maybe we've been writing kind of like some more mellow stuff just by accident, and we're like, oh, you know what? Like, we kind of need something that crushes, so let's maybe like focus on that next time.
You don't want to bore the audiences too much.
Well, it's, one thing that's interesting with your songs is, I think they do have a really a good balance of kind of those like slower, whether it's jazzy or like post rock kind of parts, and then you hit those like really heavy death metal, sometimes even like approaching black metal kind of passages as well. And I love how they kind of weave together quite a bit.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It's just, again, just whatever kind of gets us stoked, and we're always trying to find some sort of climax. It just seems like with our material, like it's always trying to get to some sort of point. Maybe the next record will be all crush.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
One thing that's interesting, and I always do a lot of research even when I'm writing reviews, and of course I published a review of your guys' album as well. There obviously were a lot of, comparisons, right or wrong, to Opeth, and I think anytime a band does crushing stuff with more slow, like post-rocky stuff, everyone's like, oh, it sounds like Opeth. And I know when I listen to the album, like, I don't really think this sounds like Opeth at all. Like, I can understand maybe why some people would say that, but like, I don't necessarily hear that. And one thing I noticed, none of you mentioned Opeth, so I am curious, like, is Opeth something that's even in your kind of your listening rotation at all? Would you say there's any influence there? I'm asking more out of a curiosity because I hear so many other people mention it.
Big time. Yeah.
Well, there is totally Opeth influence. And to be like, we always get kind of the Mastodon and Opeth thing. And like, that was more so true for our first record. Because like, I was really late to the party, like with both of those bands. So like... I was actually like just starting to kind of get into those records like around 2009 and then working my way backwards, right? So I was listening to quite a bit of that stuff back before the first record, and it was, I'm sure, had quite a bit of an influence on like what I was writing at the time, or but over the last couple records, not as much have I been kind of listening to that stuff, but I'm sure it definitely always has a place. But you'll always kind of get compared with, like, if you have acoustic guitars and then death metal vocals in another section. It's just kind of comes with the territory.
Default comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely hear the some of the Mastodon influences as well. Like, you get some of the sludgier sections, and like just the kind of like just the really just hitting hard, really brutal headbanging sections, and then you get to those like I said, like the more jazzy, silky sections. So there's a lot of cool variety. Like I said, you never know what you're going to get in any given song, and that's part of the fun, in my opinion. And yet it all works really well together.
That's what kind of makes it fun for us too, right? Selfishly. So it's yeah.
It is nice that we don't have to be overly prog 24/7 too. It's nice to just play some more straight ahead things, and I feel like it gives it more kind of like push and pull with more progressive elements when you kind of play some more straightforward parts.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah, I always think of us as like a classic hard rock band with death metal and a couple trippy time signatures here and there.
Yeah. April Wine with
time
death
signature
metal.
seasoning.
Yeah.
She's a roller!
Oh, so one question. So obviously, since releasing your latest album, there's been, it feels like, a bigger push. You guys have been playing more shows, there's been some tours, you're hitting some festivals. Obviously this year you've got Progstorm coming up, you've got Euroblast at the end of September, and you had said earlier as we were talking that there was never really a desire to not push ahead. It's just circumstances kind of dictated that things did slow down. So this push that you're going through now, would you say that's kind of what you had always kind of wanted to do? And what's kind of keeping that push going?
Well, I think it's just the general unit that we have right now. Like Brock, he's a not so new addition to the band now, but since him and Rory had joined, it's like we finally sort of have this unit now, like where everyone is like stoked to be there, and like the camaraderie we share when we are away is like second to none. So like, you know, we're all not getting any younger either. So, you know, I think like just trying to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, now, and you know, do as much as we possibly can before we can't anymore, right? So it's something we've always wanted to do, but if other members have different ideas, or you know, like just one kind of bad seed, so to speak, can kind of hinder the opportunities for everyone else, right? So generally speaking now, like when we get an offer to do something, 9 times out of 10 we're all kind of on board, and we're all you know, it's a kind of a weird world we're in today, where it's like you kind of always have to be doing shit to be able to do shit, if that makes sense, right? So
100%.
It's like we're kind of just trying to take as many opportunities as we can, as long as they're feasible to do, right? So and you know, I think we're all like fairly proud about the record that we just released, and you know, we might as well play as many shows with it as possible as we can, and you know, I think that's basically the general consensus with the 4 of us.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit of making up for lost time, but also just trying to do what we always kind of wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't. Yeah, the extra push is kind of just like the push that we always wanted to be giving.
Yep.
So
that makes sense.
It just feels kind of like where it needs to be. Yeah. With that being said, we're stoked to be doing some more shows this year.
So let's talk about Progstorm for a second. So, you know, I wasn't able to go last year, and I was disappointed that I didn't, but I'm very excited to go this year. And, you know, obviously you guys are one of many reasons why I'm excited about the fest. And I'd love to know kind of how did that come about, and what are you most excited about for Progstorm?
Well, it came about, they had actually asked us to play last year's. So they reached out to us, and we had already kind of had plans for a trip to Europe for Arctangent Festival. So when they sent us the offer, or had asked us to come play, we couldn't squeeze it into our schedule at the time. So we basically kind of tentatively said that we'd be down to play it this year if all went well. So that's basically just how it came about. So we're around this year for it, and super excited to be a part of it. Some amazing bands that are playing this year. Really excited to check out Car Bomb. We're kind of lucky to be playing right before them at the festival, so it's a perfect spot for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've got some other shows booked surrounding it, so I'm kind of bummed that we're gonna miss Cynic, because you know, we toured with Paul with Death to All. That was and Max actually from Exist. Our very first tour was actually with Death to All, and they were kind of doing the Human reunion kind of thing. So we got a chance to spend a few weeks with those guys. So it would have been nice to check Cynic out, but hopefully next time.
How about Mike or Rory? What are you guys most excited about for Progstorm?
Car Bomb for sure.
Oh yeah,
I've been aware of them
cool.
for like the last few years, I feel like, and yeah, I don't know. I'm stoked to see it. It's going to be brain melting.
That'll be pretty interesting to see live.
Yeah,
and I've seen like some videos of them from like grainy Handycam footage from way back when they started, back in like the early 2000s, and they seem like a crazy band to see. Like they're kind of Dillinger meets Meshuggah on crack or something. I don't know. Strange. Yeah, so they'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we get a chance to meet them and talk to them a little bit about their music. Be pretty cool.
And yeah, our buddies Exist are also playing on the same night as us too, so that's going to be fun to catch up with them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen either Exist or Car Bomb, so I'm excited for them. And I think one of my most anticipated bands that I've not seen before is an Abstract Illusion.
Okay.
They're a band that they were in my top, I forget exactly, top 10, 11, or 12, somewhere right in that range from 2025 releases. I really loved their album last year and super excited. Like when I saw them announced, I was so excited to see that.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What night are they playing on?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. But they're also doing a little mini tour for a few days or a week or something like that on the back half on the other side of the fest. And I'm planning on seeing them a second time in Quebec City. So
Right on.
Nice.
Poutines and an Abstract Illusion.
Is that going to be a
better,
90?
right?
I don't know actually. I'm not sure where that one's at.
Oh.
I'd imagine so. Go get that poutine in you.
Yeah, that spot nearby. Yeah.
Well, cool. And then, actually, I'm also curious. Since you've got Euroblast coming up, kind of how did that come to be?
Well, this whole we're doing that Soul Crusher Fest. I'm not sure if you've heard of that one.
I don't know that one.
But yeah, it was like I think Blood Incantation was kind of the big headliner last year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's we kind of got sent an offer from the promoter of that festival. So yeah, we actually just signed on with Atonal. So we have John Nyblock representing us, and I guess he just sort of pitched us to Euroblast, and they sent us an offer. So that's basically the way it went down. Pretty excited
cool.
to be a part of it, though. There's some pretty amazing lineup this year for sure.
Yeah, I think between Progstorm in Montreal and then Euroblast out there in Cologne, just two premier lineups as far as prog goes, and like the full span of prog, like from prog rock all the way to extreme prog. It's both fests have just an insane lineup.
And even Decapitated, the
Yeah,
pure death metal. Yeah.
That one blew my mind. I was like, wow.
Yeah. We toured with them in 2013, so they're super fun guys. So hopefully we get to catch up with them.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh, the cool thing is I'll be seeing you guys at both festivals. So.
Oh, really? Right
Oh shit!
Oh,
No
nice.
way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yes. I get around too. So I'll be seeing you
your
guys there.
rounds, man. Here.
Sweet.
Yes, I do.
More shows than us, right?
I do like to get my shows and my festivals in, and try to get as much coverage for you guys and other bands as I can too. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, a couple more questions. One, and this is maybe going back a little bit to the the question around, hey, like you had this big live push. Do you have any maybe one or two specific memories that have kind of been made in the last year or two from a touring or live show standpoint that kind of stand out? And obviously, you had this big push, probably quite a few new fans. You've been recognized for the writing, and the album has been recognized. Like a lot of really cool stuff. But maybe one or two memories that really stand out in the last year or two.
Well, I thought about this one. Just remembered it a couple days ago. The dude that brought us tacos to that show, I can't remember where it was. I think his name was Joey.
Sioux Falls.
He brought us.
Sioux Falls,
He messaged us. He's like, I want to bring you guys food, and he just brought us like so much food, like groceries and just like the most amazing tacos. He was like mixing us drinks on like the hood of his car before the show. It was like, yeah, real good dude.
Well, kudos to Joey, like whoever you are. You're awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. And you're always kind of like a little skeptical just because it's strangers sometimes, and they just message your page, and you're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and he's like, yeah, I'll bring you guys some shrimp tacos. It's like, oh, sweet, man. You don't really know what to expect, right? Like it's like no disrespect to somebody, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, we'll meet you, but yeah, this guy, it was unbelievable what he brought. Like big, huge salads, and fucking, we were eating his groceries all tour, pretty much. Like the stuff he gave us. Yeah. It was unreal. So Joey, if you see this, see you next time, buddy. We'll buy you some tacos.
Which tour was that? Was that the one with Donna Burris by chance?
That was the one with Howling Giant.
With Howling Giant, okay.
It was on the way down. Way down to meet them. So it was just us.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. Do you remember where it was? You guys?
Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Yeah. So we played 3 Canadian shows and then jumped the border and did that one show. Did that one show before we met the Howling Giant guys, and yeah, it definitely added fuel to the tank for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. Well, and I think it's one cool call out about that is, for anybody watching, even little small gestures like that can have a big impact, especially for a band that's on the road. You never know how you can help.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Like just having like food, especially when we just crossed the border too. So you can't bring a lot across the border.
Right.
So it was nice just get a pile of stuff to kind of keep us going, like dried fruits and chocolates and things like that, and like produce. So it was pretty awesome.
That's super cool. I love that. And obviously it was very impactful for you guys. That's a really neat one. Thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's funny because that's what I was thinking about as well.
Oh, was it? there was another one though. I forget the dude's name, but he saw us at the Acid Bath show, and he took a photo of us. And then when we came through Saskatoon, I can't remember what tour it was on. He came up to the merch table and was like, "I have something for you guys," and it was 4 of these giant prints of the photo he took of us at Acid Bath. So it was like, it was cool. Wow. Just like brought us these like rad prints of us at this like super cool show. And it's just a really nice gesture.
Hold on one sec.
Kenny's got it.
Oh, he's going to show us. This is awesome.
I haven't framed it yet, but
I wish I could remember his name. He was the
raddest
dude.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of all rolled up and shitty, but
that's amazing. And he made those?
Well, he took the photo and then he blew them up and printed them and gave us each one. So.
That's incredible. Wow. How cool is that?
Yeah, totally nice dude.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, also one of the other big things from the tour that we did down the States was probably playing in Atlanta at Prog Fest. Like that was unreal. Like coming out to that crowd and like the response from the crowd. And then after the show, the lights guys, the sound guys, the events promoters came down and personally thanked us for how awesome the set was, which was pretty mind blowing. Apparently we were the second ever band to get a mosh pit going at Prog Power. Apparently,
yes. So it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. So
I will say on that front. So I was at that show, and you guys probably remember. I saw you guys there, got a picture with you and all. But
yeah,
I ran into you guys a few times there. But what I remember from that Prog Power show, I'd seen you guys many times at that point, and I kept thinking, and I told many people, like this is by far like the most energetic I've seen you guys. That's not to say you're not energetic normally, because you are, but I remember like Kenny, I remember you were like, "Come on, let's go!" And you were like just really getting into it, and like I don't know, like you guys made the crowd get into it. Like it was, and of course I think you fed off the crowd, but they fed off of you, and it was just such an energetic show. And it was like, of course, being on the big stage, the sound at Center Stage in Atlanta is incredible, and you guys killed it. Like it was a great show.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was fun. I think
Definitely a memorable one.
Yeah, with this lineup, I think that might have been like our biggest show to date at that point.
Yeah.
So we're all pretty revved up and ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, one final question. You kind of maybe slightly hinted at it earlier. Are you guys thinking about new material at all? It's been not quite 2 years since the new one, but we're getting there. I think it'll be 2 years in late August, early September. So, what are you guys thinking about? Obviously, I'm hoping there's not another 8 year gap. I think you had 3 years between the first two albums, if I remember correctly. So I love it. I love more like the 2 to 3 year gap if I'm being selfish. So I'm just curious.
We're going for a decade this time, right?
Yeah, next time we do this, we're gonna have white hair.
Yeah. We'll be ancient by then.
We're just going into the name.
The juices are definitely flowing, and they're there's lots of kind of stuff compiled at the moment. So it's definitely in our minds that we're gonna start getting together right quick and hashing all this stuff out. So we don't really want to say when, but soon we're gonna start putting everything together, I think, and start pushing towards getting another album out. Hopefully recording sometime early next year.
Oh, very nice. That would be sweet.
It would, yeah.
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 And actually, I lied. I do have one more question I'd love to ask, and I did not prep you for this one, although hopefully it's not too much of a zinger. Voice of the Void, 10-year anniversary coming up. You got a show, I think, at the Rickshaw, which I unfortunately cannot come to because I'll be at Prog Power that weekend, and I have to admit I'm a little disappointed by that. But what inspired the show? And will there be a chance for a second one so I can come see it?
You never know. Maybe at the 20th anniversary. When our next record comes out, right? Yeah, what inspired it? Well, we did one for the Heart of Oak record, and it seems like, a chance to have a party, just, to pay homage to the record when it came out. So, we might have the old members come out and do a song or two, and like lots of those songs we haven't played in a long while, so it'll kind of give us a chance to, freshen up on them, maybe.
Yeah.
Put them into the set more regularly moving forward, right? But yeah, it's just, kind of a celebration. It's a pretty big milestone, a decade ago, which it doesn't seem like that long, but yeah, it's just, we haven't played actually a headline show in Vancouver since what was it?
The Juno Fest.
Was it? Oh yeah. Well, that was kind of a short set anyway, but yeah, like Beyond the Reach of the Sun kind of record release. So I think it should be a special,
the end of October,
special night,
2024.
Yeah. So like we've done a couple.
Oh, we
support.
Yeah, I sure was.
Nice. Yeah, I think we actually poached some of your video for ads at one point.
Yes.
Didn't I message you? And I was like, hey.
Yes.
So you,
in
thanks
fact,
for that.
In fact, I launched. Obviously, I have a YouTube channel now, but I only launched that about a month and a half ago. And one of the things that I plan on doing I have a lot of old video content that I'm going to go back to, and I do plan on actually putting up that set on my YouTube channel. So I'll keep you guys posted when I do that. I have the whole set videoed.
Oh, awesome!
Cool.
That's rad.
So do I now.
Yes, you do. Well, cool.
Right on.
Well, thank you guys all for taking the time. I wonder if you just have any final thoughts you want to leave with the audience before we sign off.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you at Progstorm. You are next.
Yeah, thanks for having us, David.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
No, it was a lot of fun talking to you guys, and I always enjoy seeing you, and looking forward to seeing you at Progstorm here very soon, and then, like I said, Euroblast thereafter. So it's gonna be some good stuff.
We'll share a bratwurst, brother. Yep.
All right. Cool. Well, let's stay metal, everybody. And thank you all.
You as well.
Cheers, man.
All right.